tell you enough how much we appreciate you being our guest. Definitely.
An excellent first guest.
Excellent first guest.
When you edit it, it better sound really amazing.
You will. You will. Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Missy.
And you should meet our friend. Today, we're talking to Jennifer Judd.
All right. Why don't you let me start?
Okay.
So, Jen, and I got a call last week, well, an email, I guess, from a dear friend who I've known for, my goodness, 20-something years.
24, I think.
Oh, she writes me up and says, "Hey, I'm having a podcast and I want you to be a guest." And I'm thinking, what does that mean? It means that she's finally doing something that she said she wanted to do. She and her friend Missy, who I just met today, I'm meeting her on Zoom, said we can talk for hours and hours. Well, I know I can talk for hours and hours. I've talked to hours and hours with Elizabeth, so we want to share what we talk about and the friends that we have and the communities that we live in with our friends. So I guess I'm the lucky one because I get to be the friend that you meet tonight.
So what I have always found fascinating about Jen is that I met you when we were both in the Air Force, but you're an incredibly creative person. Have been as long as I've known you. So I guess the question I wanted to ask you, which I've never asked you, is what came first, the creativity or being in the Air Force? How did those evolve? Together, separately, at the same time?
Okay, so being in the Air Force happened because I dropped out of college because I couldn't pick a major. So I was 20. I had a couple years of college under my belt, and so I just needed to find something to do. I did not fly planes. I can type very fast. That's what I tell people. I type very fast, and I was there when we first got computers, and there were no cell phones, right? Anyway, so I grew up in a creative family. I was most musical in my high school class. My dad's an artist. My brother's an artist. So art has always been in the background and creativity, but I think it manifested itself differently because day to day I was, busy. I mean, when we met, we were stationed at Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio, and I worked 8 hours, 10 hours a day, pretty regular hours, but it was busy. And we were solving problems and making things happen. And I think that my creativity manifested itself in problem solving and in just doing fun things, entertaining people, I'd like to think. I think I'm funny. But so that's what happened. It didn't happen. It was probably about 2012 when I took a jewelry class because I needed something to do. I was living in DC at the time, stationed in DC. And I really liked the feel of doing something with my hands and creating something out of nothing, basically taking wire and wickering around. And then it's suddenly, there, it's something awesome. And then through that, I started getting into creative communities. So my right brain and left brain both started working together. I was a manpower analyst, which sounds super boring, but I actually really loved it. And so I was working spreadsheets and data analysis all day long. So being able to go into places with people who were not military at all, who just made things and created things, it was a whole different way to branch out my network. And so while Elizabeth and I have been friends for a freaking long time, I also have a huge art community friend that grew at the same time and encouraged me to grow. And I went to workshops. And so I guess it all evolved at the same time. And so it was a natural progression that when I got done with the military, I had to figure out what to do because it was a big deal for me to transition to something different. And so I went back to school, and now I have a degree in graphic design, and I'm a freelancer. I live back in my hometown. I make art. I've had several solo exhibitions. I do design work for clients around town, and they think it's funny that I'm a veteran because they can't believe that I ever wore a uniform. I said, oh, yeah, I used to tell people what to do, and they actually did it. I said, now I have a dog, and I can't even get him to freaking stay in the yard. Anyway. Well, that's the thing. It was funny because it's mixed media. That's what I mean, putting air quotes on it, mixed media. It is a real thing, but it is literally anything goes. I use collage and canvas. I use work with acrylics. I've worked with oils. One of the things that I would recommend is for anybody, if you're feeling like you need just to do, is find a workshop, and they exist. Where I found the first ones, I think my first real fun mixed media retreats, like where you go and you stay overnight and you hang out with these people for like a long time, were oh my god, what's it called?
Was
Art, art
Art
and
and
soul.
Soul? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the team that puts that together, I mean, they're all about the experience. They bring, you know, national level instructors together, and you just, I don't know, it's good for the soul. I don't feel like I'm a very soulful person when it comes to that stuff, but it is your soul and your fun and your brain and your wine and it just feels really good. It feels really good.
So you enrolled in Savannah College of Art and Design. You graduated in May. So what was that like being a slightly older student compared to the average student?
It took me a minute to get adjusted to it, but I liked the young people. I was afraid I wouldn't like young people. I do not have any kids. I'm not married. I mean, I'm divorced. And so I don't spend my time around young people a lot. I don't know how to do TikTok things. I mean, I dance a lot and I'll make up my own dances, but I do not record them. And I did all online programming except for last summer when I was able to study abroad in France. I decided to go in person, and I thought, what am I going to do with all these young people? And I loved it. They were so inspiring. There were about 100 students there at this little tiny campus in the south of France. I got to be a RA, a resident assistant, because I'm like, I'm already going to be the mom. I mean, I was not even the oldest student there, but I was the one that's
Oh,
like,
really?
run around, take care of these people. And so I thought, well, I might as well get my room and board covered. So I did. And that actually was nice because I was able to really be in that role and help solve problems when their sewer was not right, or bug problems, or I can't find my passport. I mean, there was a team that did all that, but it was nice because now I still keep in touch with a lot of those kids.
Great.
Kids, young people. Anyway, I wasn't the only non-traditional student in the program. So
Someone told me today, it was an artist, and they said, if you ask a classroom full of first graders who can draw, who can paint, every one of those kids will raise their hand. Who can sing? Every one of those kids will raise their hand. Now, if you go to a college class and you say, who here is an artist that can draw? There'll be like two people. Okay, who can sing? And it'll be two different people. So I think as we age, we think we can't do those things. So I applaud you for not listening to all the voices that are, at least in my head, that say I can't be creative, or I'm not good enough to go to workshop or go to France and study.
Thank you. I think you hit on something, Missy. Labels. One thing that is interesting to me is that, having been in the military, it's easy. I was in the Air Force. You're labeled. You just know. Like, you can look at someone and they have a uniform on, and you know their name, their rank, so you kind of know where they went to school. You know what their job is just by looking at them. I mean, yes, stereotyping, but it's in the best way. I mean, it's the ease of communication. And once you lose that, I thought, what? How do you know? What is your identity? Like, I actually did struggle quite a bit with what am I? What am I? I've been retired 8 years, and I was like, I got to go on a podcast and say, what? When I was like, how would I label myself? And I would label myself as an artist and a creative, but I would also label myself as a Bedford girl, because the Air Force was my community at that time. No matter where I was, Bedford is now my community, and being able to participate in things in different ways, I think is just really important.
Well,
That's
and
just
you volunteer pretty significantly around town.
yes, I do.
You had a
Yes,
whole list.
when I first moved back here, well, I think I did. I have a job. Yeah, I had a job. I was doing some consulting work for a firm in Virginia remotely, and so I had time. I did some volunteer work at the Southern Alleghenies Museum of Art, which is a great regional museum here in town that's been very supportive of me and my work, which is fantastic. Then I joined the board of the Bedford Heritage Trust, which my dad was on the board or is on the board still. They run the little museum in town. My grandfather in the 50s was one of the people that originally built the Fort Museum building. And so I thought, well, that's kind of a cool legacy. And I get to learn a little bit more about Bedford, which has had a significant role in the Whiskey Rebellion. Very
Woohoo!
cool. Oh, I'm a Red Cross volunteer. We do disaster response. That actually stems from my military career because the Red Cross has a great support presence with their support to the armed forces.
Yes, it is.
Your Safe Haven is our local victim advocacy agency, which I got to know, probably 5 or 6 years ago. Who thinks about domestic violence unless you're a victim or, frankly, a perpetrator, I guess? But got to know these folks. Really, really amazing work they do. All kinds of grants they have to go through from Pennsylvania and but state level and national. So I'm on the board with them, and that's been really rewarding. It's a very engaged board, and we have a lot of fun.
I was going to ask you what it was like to go back to your hometown after so many years away. Is it like that? Is it like the Hallmark movies you see where she returns to Bedford, opens up an art gallery and falls in love? Is there going to be a part 2 to this, Jen?
Well, I kind of stepped right back in. Yes. So I grew up here. My parents lives here. My friends are here. And so it is very Hallmarky. I did not fall in love.
Oh, yeah.
Nor do I need to. Well, unless you count Roger. That's my dog.
Roger.
Roger. So the way I like my story of how I ended up here. When I first retired, I was in Charleston, South Carolina. Oh, the gem of the South. Who doesn't want to live in Charleston, South Carolina? But I had just left a job where I was had a great community. I was a squadron commander, so I was very busy and very involved. And then I went to the College of Charleston because I was going to go to art school. So I was majoring in art, and I didn't have any friends. It's like, where is it? I didn't have family. I mean, of course I have friends, but I didn't have a community there. My community was the base, and I didn't have that anymore. And so I came home on spring break and was sitting on the porch with my mom, and we were drinking wine. And I said, you know what? I said, I could live anywhere in the whole wide world. I said, that is the weirdest feeling, to know that I have no restrictions. Really. I mean, I have now a pension income. As long as I'm not an idiot, I mean, I could really live anywhere. She said, why don't you move to Bedford? She said, there's a house down the block for sale. So we went and looked at it, and 2 days later I bought it. And then at the end of the semester, I moved home. And so when I came home, the funny part is that everything's relative. I mean, or your relatives, literally. And so I graduated in 1989. You walk down the street, you can say, that's a classmate. That's my sister's classmate. That guy graduated with my brother. That guy dated his mom. His mom knows my mom. It's just hilarious. One of the other things I do, I volunteer to coordinate the annual homecoming parade at the high school, simply because I was sitting at church next to the girl who was running it, and her daughter was graduating. She said, somebody needs to take this over because I'm not doing it. And I said, well, I'll do it. I said, maybe I'll get to know folks. So now I know all the moms of all the people. I mean, I have a sister who's 2 boys that have graduated, but it was hilarious. So even this year, I don't have anything else affiliated with the high school, but I'm over there running a parade. I also live right nearby, so it's convenient. I mean, it's not a major parade. It's pretty small, but I know how to deal with bureaucracy. There's a lot of paperwork before you get to put a cute kid on a float. I don't tend to get involved in local politics and sort of things like that because we're in a very divided county. And so my only opinion is I served 24 years, so you can have whatever opinion you want, as long as you're not really hurting anybody else.
Exactly.
I like it. Yep.
As someone whose parents and in-laws live on the other side of the country, is it a blessing or not to live right near your parents?
Oh, it's an absolute blessing. My mom was an excellent cook, hence the extra chin that I have developed since I retired. No, it's not her fault, but I eat with them almost every night. My dad still works. She still works cooking. I love it. They're both in pretty good health, and so we visit. I mean, we visit all the time. It is funny. I took a little bit to get used to. When I'm 50, I'm in my 50s, let's put it that way. And I got a mom. Where's your car? Mom, whose car's in your driveway? What were you doing? I saw a light on in the middle of the night. La 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 la. Ma, what? I mean, for my whole life, I lived far away from her, and now, what are you doing? I see a light on your kitchen. I'm making a sandwich. What is this?
I've had my parents here for the past 5 weeks, and with the goal of them moving from Indiana to Utah, where I currently live. It is that my mom can be kind of that way, and like you guys, I haven't lived at home for a long time, since the 90s, early 90s, and just her, like, I'm a different person when I'm around my mom. My mom expects me to be this innocent Christian girl who doesn't cuss, and that's not the case. But it is kind of off-putting sometimes for me. I have to remember, like, she's my mom, she's just concerned, she's just interested, and she hasn't had that for so many years because I could just do whatever I pleased. So I'm sure it takes a lot of patience for both of you.
Well, and we love each other, and sometimes we laugh because she's got the type of personality that her way is the right way, and I'm like, there's really no reason for it not to be the right way. So, okay. She likes to drive rather than be a passenger. So I had her come with me on a road trip with the dog, and I didn't have to drive at all.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So what kind of freelance work are you doing with your new graphic design degree?
Ooh. Well, Julie's is my best friend here, and she and I, like, we've known each other since we were little. And her store, she's my primary client. Let's put it that way. I do all of her print advertising. Our other teammate, Bobby, she does all the digital marketing, and we work together on some of that. And I've been working on her website, but I also work for her part-time as a salesperson. But that's given me a lot of good experience. And she does design work, like interior design work. So she got me a job with our local Bedford Candies. They are so yummy. Oh my God. If you're going to Google something about Bedford, you're going to get Bedford Candies. They are moving into a new place. And so I've done some mural things for the walls, some vinyl. I can never remember the word vinyl. Why is that hard? Some vinyl, like chocolate drips and things for the walls. So that's been fun.
Well, should we dive into our questions?
Sure. If you're ready.
Sure.
Yeah,
Since I'm over here just rambling on, I'm like, okay.
you're doing great.
If you could go back to your younger self and tell them something, what would you say?
You are super lucky that you don't have cell phones.
Ooh, interesting.
That's good.
Well, because all the time, I mean, do I wish we had some more photographic memories of times gone by, like in our 20s when we knew each other? Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't need for the rest of the world to see that. Well, and the distraction factor. I mean,
Yeah.
I spend too much time doing stupid shit on my phone, playing games, looking at other people's things that don't mean anything. And so I think it was nice.
Do you think, Jen, that knowing what you know now, would your younger self have pursued the art career? Do you think if you had known better, you would have done that in college? Or do you think you needed everything else in between?
I think I definitely needed everything else in between, because I think art for art's sake isn't the point. Art is an expression of your life and the world around you. And so I couldn't make what I make now without the life that I had. Not like some deep revelation. Oh, my soul's so juicy because no, I like the colors I like Texas food. I have friends in Texas. I lived in Italy. I love the Italian architecture.
Yeah.
I mean, those things do show up in my artwork. I also dream a lot. I feel like that's something I need to mention because to me, I didn't realize some people don't remember their dreams. I remember my dreams every day. And I dream about the Air Force and work a lot. Just last night, I had a dream that I was in an office. Was supposed to be retired, but I came back. I wasn't in a uniform. They wouldn't give me anything to do, but they also wouldn't let me leave. What's happening? I mean, there was also a house with a lot of rooms that's a recurring theme. But I think my dream world impacts my reality pretty significantly because I remember it all the time. It's not scary. It's just weird and odd and brings a lot of different facets together in a way, obviously unconsciously, that you might not otherwise put together.
What's your current reading, watching, listening obsession right now?
I'm guilty of I love Survivor.
There's nothing wrong with that.
What? Why am I watching this? Anyway, so the new season just started. Well, then I got sucked into The Amazing Race. Have you ever watched that?
I've watched every season of it. I love that show.
Really?
Well,
I've never seen an episode.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
I
Especially when they totally do something dumb about travel. You're like, dude, what are you doing?
Well, because they can't use phones. And
Mhm.
so it just goes to show you, like, I love maps. I remember in 6th grade playing with maps. Like, that's what we did in school. We played with maps, like looking for things. These people,
No
they
idea.
don't even know what north is, let alone
Yeah.
how to find map. In general, I'm generalizing, but it cracks me up.
Exactly.
In terms of books, though, I just listened to The Terminal List by Jack Carr. A little guilty pleasure, the whole
Sure.
special ops CIA thing. The audiobook is fantastic. And there's a series, so I'm excited because there's a series. So I've already listened to the second book, but I really liked the narrator in that.
Fabulous. So, what besides working, hanging out with your parents, or your numerous side hustles do you do to relax?
I take I take naps. I'm a total napper. I think it has to do with the dream thing because I also dream when I nap, but I am a napper. But I also really like puzzles. So I do jigsaw puzzles. I like crossword puzzles. Keeping your brain just slightly busy. I wish I could say I have a green thumb. I really want to be more of a gardener. And so I just planted shrubs and I just had some work done around my house. So I'm going to try to be better about that because I feel like being outside would be better for my health, but that's a little aspirational goal.
I think I know the answer to this. Is there something you like to cook or eat or drink that makes the day's challenges fade away?
She knows this because she knows I'm a wine drinker. But
yeah.
Well, or you love to eat your mom's cooking.
Oh yeah, my mom's cooking or cheese. When I turned 52 this year, I resolved to try to be a little healthier. I call it making good decisions. I have been eating more vegetables, so it's part of the reason I got a dog. Oh, you'll walk more. No, I won't. I have a fenced in yard. I'm not walking more. The dog is walking. You'll eat less because you'll be more active. No, now the dog's starting to gain weight because we're eating treats. But I have been making better decisions, so I don't want my day's challenges to fade away. Mostly, I just want to end the day having made healthier choices with something that eating or drinking, which is one of my challenges.
So, what friend of yours do you think we should meet and have on our podcast? On our baby podcast?
The baby podcast. Well, I have a lot of cool friends. And I was thinking, I mean, it could be some Air Force people, or I could introduce you to Julie, my friend here in Bedford, who followed a completely different path. She was born here, raised here, has had small businesses here, and is an extremely successful entrepreneur, mom, wife,
Mm-hmm.
community. She's community engaged, and she likes spending time with me. So, well, just last week we had our 6th annual fashion show for a cause. Um, I'm one of the models. I'm always, I'm always the plus size model, which is fine because I get to wear cute clothes. And then
Mm-hmm.
she gets some community members, and we all wear 2 outfits each. And there's limited. I think we have 40 tickets. It's always packed. And just for this year, we raised $1,800 for Abby's Angels, a local rescue charity, which
Nice.
where she got one of her puppies. So it is really fun. I mean, it's a great evening. We partner with one of the restaurants down the street. Well, I mean, she pays them. They serve a great meal, and it's just top notch events like that make it fun around here.
We will add her to our list.
Mhm.
And we'll
Definitely.
add Bedford, Pennsylvania to our list of places to visit.
Oh, for sure, pretty awesome. Since I
We
got a dog, it's a whole new community because now
Oh,
all the
oh yeah.
each other. And of course, we walk the same route every morning. Me in my
Oh, yeah.
pajamas, him all fluffed up, which is while people are going to work and school. I'm waving my poop bag at him. Oh yeah. Roger goes to daycare, and so then he knows people that I don't even know, and so I'll have people. Is that Roger? Yeah, it is. Okay,
Roger's a celebrity. Can we talk to Roger next time?
celebrity. Hey, buddy.
So we talked earlier about a bunch of different organizations that you support with your volunteer work, but is there a particular one you want to shout out and let us know how everybody else in the world could support it?
Well, you should support my business. My website's jenjudd.com.
Awesome.
But and the reason I say that a little tongue in cheek is because obviously I would love to be able to spread the word about my work. But if you support me,
Absolutely.
it allows me to support all the things in my community. I think the one thing I would encourage people to do is look for the domestic violence support organizations in their community, because you don't realize it. I mean, you read the paper, yeah, somebody was victimized, somebody got shot. I mean, there is a whole support system, and legal process that they go through. And there's people that deal with that are trained counselors, advocates. And so I don't talk to victims and clients, but I support the people who do. And I think that's really important. So you can be in the background in an organization that you think is important. And you don't have to give money. That's the other I always say you have time, talents, and treasures. Well, I don't right now I have more time and talents than I do treasures. And so I do design work, or fundraising work. So you can give an in-kind type of thing too. That's just as important, if not more important sometimes.
Yep. Agreed.
This has been really fun, Jen. You are hilarious and you're a delight. I'm going to follow your
Yeah, follow.
jendud.com. Not
Woohoo.
follow you like stalk you, but follow
Okay.
you online. So you're an inspiration. You really are. I hope you know that because there's so many women our age that uh trying to figure out what's next. My kids are almost out of the house, so I'm like, what's
Yeah.
next?
I do look and think, what am I doing? Well, when I made that decision to join the Air Force, I could never, like you guys were talking earlier about, you don't know what the plan is. I can't even believe how lucky I am to have the freedom to do what I want. I mean, and live where I want. And it's just, I guess I just got kind of lucky.
So, Missy, you've met my friend Jennifer. What did you learn from her?
Well, I learned that we should all be bold, especially in the second or third act of our lives, to just chase those dreams that we maybe have kept ourselves. Jennifer talked about seeking out workshops to help you broaden your experiences and your skill set. And that's how she discovered this love and passion for art. And if you want to follow more about what she does in her art that she sells and displays all over, you can follow her at jenjudd.com, JENJUDD.com.
Wonderful. Find us at facebook.com/YSMMF podcast and Instagram at YSMMF podcast for episode announcements. Thanks.